Hello, my name is Emma, and in today's video I'm going to share a resource that I've made that I'm going to be using to keep track of my progress in the Godforge beta, just in case it might be useful for somebody else as well. So in my last video, I talked about how it's important to keep track of your progress in the Godforge beta so that you can easily reference it later when you want to write down feedback. And as soon as I kind of put that video out, I was a bit like, I haven't really thought about how I'm actually going to do this. Like, am I just going to type like a stream of consciousness into a Word document? How am I going to organize my thoughts in like the best way possible so that I can share them both with the Fateless team on their like feedback surveys, but also in my own videos. So basically I decided that I was going to do what I always do, which is to make a really extensive and obsessive spreadsheet. But the spreadsheet that I have here in the background is essentially an edited version of a spreadsheet that I use for Raid, mostly to keep track of my resources. So the first page of the spreadsheet is a general overview. One of the things that I always tracked in Raid that I think is very fun to track is summons. After that, I've added a hero wish list. You can put anything else that you want to keep track of here, but I kind of like when I'm like reading about heroes or see someone recommend a hero to pop it on a wish list, so I remember that that is someone to look out for. And the last thing on the main page here is a to-do list, which again in Raid I used to kind of, put any teams that I wanted to build, any heroes that I needed to rebuild, any dungeons that I was like stuck on, and I was like, I need to go back and focus on that one. So the next page that I've done is a daily tracker. To go through what I've included on this page, it's first a few categories here of things that you can kind of write your thoughts down about. These are things that I want to keep track of myself. If you want to use the spreadsheet, you can change any of these to whatever you want. On the right side of this page, I put in some stats that I want to keep track of. The first one I put in is resource usage, just to kind of be able to see like how fast things are coming in and kind of like what your like earning versus spending is. The second section on this page is stage progress, where I've got all the stages that we will have available to us. So if this is interesting to you, I think it's going to be interesting to me to just at the end of each day write down what stage I am at. Again, this is kind of so that you can go through and see if like there's been any major sticking points. I think seeing how fast you progress in each area every day is going to be interesting to look back on after the beta as well. And then in the last one, I just have a few stats. You can write in your totals at the end of the day. Again, you can swap these to anything else that you want to keep track of. I've got tokens of valor, epics pulled, legendaries pulled, and heroes at level 60. I've only made one page of this. I thought about creating like the full spreadsheet with like all 14 days laid out so that you can just use it as it is. But I figure people might not want to all track the exact same thing. So I've just made one page called day one. You can edit this one as you please if you want to use this and change the categories, change the colors, add other things that you want to keep track of. And then just at the start of each day, you can copy this. So my last page is just an extra addition that I actually don't know how much I will need to use this, but this is a page that I used in my Raid spreadsheet for planning my faction wars teams. Because I found in Raid that like obviously your main kind of 20 heroes that you use all the time, you remember what they all do. But when I was trying to like push hard to beat faction wars normal, I had to build so many heroes that I don't normally use. I didn't know the kids off by heart. I kept forgetting what they were doing. So I used this to write down the heroes that I have built that I'm currently using in Faction Wars. Any kind of top contenders for heroes I might need to build, as well as some wish list heroes that like I really think would help me unlock the different stages. And I would write the roles in and some notes. And this just really helped me to get an overview of each team. Obviously, like to a big extent, we're just going to be playing with our core teams and maybe not specializing teams for each dungeon. This might not be that useful. It might not be useful for everyone. I don't know if I'm going to be using this, but I wanted to include this because this has been a really good tool for me when I was planning my teams in Raid. And there might come a time in Godforge where we do need to build several specialized teams. So I just wanted to put this in as like an optional thing to use to show how I was managing this when I was playing Raid. But yeah, this is what I've been working on this final weekend before the much anticipated Godforge beta drop. I'm going to be filling this in and I'm going to just keep this like partly as like a tracking of the game, but also just as a little bit of a diary of my experience and just my feelings. And I think it's going to be fun to look back on afterwards. And I think it's going to really help me to just like consolidate my feedback and my thoughts. But also at the end of the day, the main thing is just to have fun playing the game. But I'm someone who do think it's really fun to keep track of things and have a record of what I do. So this is what I'm going to do. You're welcome to use it in any way that you want. If you think this might help you, I will see you on the other side. Thank you so much for watching as always, and goodbye.